Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise and this is 10 to Life, where we talk all things true crime. I'm doing a little bit of a makeshift video today because I still do not have all of my tech set up yet. So we're doing something. I don't know what we're doing, but we're doing something. So I appreciate you guys hanging in while I figure everything out. If you are brand new stopping by for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy today's case video and the coverage on this channel. And if you do, and if you like the channel and feel like it's one that you want to watch again, make sure that you hit that subscribe button below so that you get notified anytime I do live streams or post new videos like this one. And for all of my returning subscribers, welcome back. I hope you're all having a great day, and let's get right into some true crime. So on February 22nd, a 7-year-old little girl went to her Las Vegas elementary school with a sticky note for her teacher. Teachers often receive little post-it sticky notes from their kids with, little happy phrases or smiley faces, or like an apple, sometimes you would think. But this was one that no teacher has ever seen before, because written on these sticky notes was a desperate plea for help from the 7-year-old girl's mother, a plea that ultimately wound up in kidnapping charges, a murder charge, and truly horrifying, gruesome details. And the truth of the matter is, this teacher and the school's swift action that was taken immediately following receiving this note may very well have saved not only this family's life, but this little 7-year-old girl's life. And in addition to that, their quick actions also would bring justice to a young preschooler who so senselessly lost his life. So what was on that note that led to this huge discovery and ultimately saved so many people's lives and brought justice? Well, on that note was that desperate plea for help. And it was the mother who had written that sticky note saying that she was being held captive and her captor had a gun. She also said on that note that she hadn't seen her son since December 11th. And this at this point now was February 22nd, several months later. And what's worse, she feared that her son was no longer alive. So, who was responsible for his death and what happened? And the details that were about to be unveiled truly would shock anybody, but of course rocked this community. So we're going to get right into this case just as soon as we have a quick word from today's sponsor.
All right, guys, I have a present for you today, and I'm going to help you smell good, look good, and save money while you're doing it. So thank me later. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service, and just like Netflix allows you to watch hundreds of titles, they allow you to try over 600 brands of different scents. You can try all of these out in just a few clicks, and the best part about this subscription service is you can cancel anytime you want, and there are 0 penalties. Scentbird works for both men and women, and you get to choose a new fragrance every single month for just $16. And they carry top designers like Prada, Gucci, Versace, but they also carry the indie guys like Vince Camuto. And they are 100% authentic because they work directly with the brands. So with such a massive amount of choices out there, you can really discover what scent you want, what you want to make your signature scent to really express yourself, or you can be like me and change it up all the time because I don't like sticking to just one thing. This month I received Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, which has notes of apples and lemons and just smells so fresh. I love it. And also Kenneth Cole Blush, which this smells more romantic, more floral for when I'm trying to get some more attention from my husband and lay it on thick. And guys, look at these vials because it gives you a 30-day supply. It's not like those micro skinny samples you get at the store. This is 8 times bigger. And if you're not sure which one you want, you can go to the website, take a quiz, and it'll give you tons of recommendations based on your answers. So if you're like me and completely over having half-empty bottles just scattered around my room, trying to get that last spritz out of something that I know is no longer there, Scentbird is for you because they are going to save you hundreds of dollars on those half-empty bottles, unfinished scents, and especially when you get halfway through a bottle and you're just over it and you're okay, this just ain't working with my pH, my chemistry. They are going to help you out with that because with each bottle you get a 30-day supply, so you can really try it out for a month before you commit to a full-size bottle. And you can upgrade like I did, where you can get 2 or 3 to try a month. And we all know bottles of fragrance can cost anywhere from $150 to $500. $100, sometimes even more, which is just absolutely bananas. So this is a way to save money while still smelling so good. And here's where I'm hooking you guys up, because with my code 10 to life, you can get your fragrance for just $7. And they all come in these like cute little pocket-sized cases. So not only are you going to smell good, but you are going to look cute doing it. And we all like to look cute. So make sure to use my coupon code 10 to life for 55% off, bringing your fragrance to just $7. And Canada, this isn't just for the US, we got you covered too. So guys, go to Scentbird, try it out, get your fragrance on, smell good, and again, thank me later. And thank you Scentbird for sponsoring today's video, for making me smell fresh and clean and good all the time. And thank you to all of you viewers for understanding that sponsors are essential to the channel if we want to get it to a place where I can give you true crime all the time. All right guys, let's get into this case.
Dahsia Maldonado is 28 years old and an absolutely stunning woman. She was married to a man by the name of Elijah. They had 2 kids together, Riley, her 7-year-old daughter, and Mason, a 4-year-old son. From the outside looking in, the 2 of them were extremely happy, a beautiful and happy couple, and a very joyous family, according to those that knew them, friends and family alike. And apparently, Elijah, was the salt of the earth, just truly an amazing human being. However, on January 17th, 2021, Elijah tragically and unexpectedly passed away from pneumonia, leaving behind his wife and 2 beautiful young children. Dahsia, being a widow, found herself struggling with bills and raising her 2 young kids alone. Now she was on her own, she had 1 income, and she was finding it hard to make ends meet. Very early on, after Eli passed away, a man by the name of Brandon Toseland, who was friends with Eli, swooped in and really began helping Dahsia through everything, helping her through her grief, helping her cope, and trying to help her financially as well. And he swooped in so quickly that just 3 weeks later, around Valentine's Day, Dahsia announced that she was in a brand new relationship. And by March, she and her children had actually moved into Brandon's home. Now, some may think that this is very quick, especially off the heels of your husband tragically and unexpectedly passing away. But that wasn't even the weirdest part in all of this, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But again, she was a widow trying to make ends meet. This man, who appeared to be her husband's friend, comes in, knight in shining armor, and she swoons and falls for it. And I'm sure, if we're being quite honest, also probably liked that he was making her life a little bit easier financially while raising 2 children alone. However, as soon as Dahsia and her 2 children moved into Brandon's home, her behavior began to change, and she became very unlike herself, according to friends and family. According to Eli's family, Dahsia didn't allow an autopsy to be performed on Eli. But then things got even worse, if you can believe it. For whatever reason, Dahsia absolutely refused to allow Eli's family to attend the funeral. And then she cut off all contact with the kids and the family members pretty quickly after he had passed away, meaning Eli's own mother didn't get to attend her child's funeral, her son's funeral. And coming from such a happy marriage and a loving family, what would position Dahsia to make these rash decisions and these heartless choices? And here's where we get our first odd twist in this case. This new boyfriend, Brandon, who was reportedly Eli's friend, was also the baby daddy of Eli's sister and has 2 children with Eli's sister. So a little too close for comfort, in my personal opinion. And Brandon was also already in the middle of a horrible custody dispute with his ex. So that was a very weird red flag in all of this. His ex, who happens to be Elijah's sister, he's in this heated custody battle with, he already has past relationship with, now he's moving in on Elijah's widow. It just seems a little uncomfy, too close for comfort. I mean, 2 people who are feuding and are in the same family, who have kids from that family, now start dating. It's just a little weird. And the second red flag in all of this is Brandon's record, because he was arrested back in 2013 after he punched his sister in the face several times, his own blood, his own sister. And he was arrested again then on DV charges in just 2019, more recently, from an incident that happened back in 2018. A little bit of a pattern here. And during that incident in 2018, he allegedly hit his girlfriend multiple times after accusing her of cheating on him. A pattern of jealousy, insecurity, this is going to be very important here in just a minute, guys, and wanting to have control. Over the next few months of Dahsia and Brandon's relationship, things allegedly became very abusive. He methodically and systematically just started exercising more and more control over Dahsia and over her everyday life and everyday choices. And according to Dahsia's attorney, when she wasn't forced to clean the house or cook meals for him, she was tied up inside her room, sometimes with duct tape. Brandon began covering the windows, controlling her social media, taking her cell phone, even using video surveillance, gates, and locks inside the house to really exercise all control over Dahsia and these kids. He put locks on the bedroom doorknobs, which required a key to open. He installed motion sensors inside the home. He even would watch Dahsia when she would use the restroom, not allowing her a single moment of privacy or freedom to do anything for herself or to even reach out for help to anybody. It's also been claimed that in addition to this systematic abuse and brainwashing, that there was physical DV happening in the home and SA happening in the home, particularly targeted at Dahsia. We have not heard any confirmed allegations of it being targeted towards the children. However, we do hear allegations of the children being physically hurt by Brandon, and not only being emotionally hurt and physically hurt by Brandon, but also separating them from Dahsia, from their mother, to sever ties and weaken all of them. Brandon was allegedly increasingly isolating Dahsia, taking over all of her social media accounts and forcing her to completely cut off ties with her family, which does make sense thinking back to when she isolated her family, wouldn't allow Eli's family to see the children anymore, didn't allow any of them to come to the funeral. You start to see a pattern here of Brandon exercising control. So this went on for months. But it all really reached a boiling point in December of 2021, because up until then, Dahsia worked as a phlebotomist. I hope I'm saying that right, but it's somebody who routinely draws blood, whether it's for tests or things like that, but takes your blood when you go into the lab. However, abruptly in December, she quit her job. And the way she quit her job was by notifying her boss via text message and just quit immediately, saying, "I'm not coming in." And many suspect that Dahsia wasn't even the one who sent this text message quitting, and that it was truly Brandon behind it. Because in addition to those messages, there were also messages sent where she completely cut off her family and severed all ties. And in addition to all of that, on December 11th, Dahsia was separated from her 4-year-old son, Mason, and it was the last time that she would ever see him. Mason had become very sick, and Dahsia wanted to seek medical attention, medical help to intervene and to get Mason the help that he so desperately needed from being sick. But Brandon told her no. And not only did he tell her no, and that we're not seeking any sort of medical attention, but he took the 4-year-old Mason, into a bedroom and barricaded the door so that Dahsia couldn't come in, so that she couldn't check on him, so that she couldn't ever see him and make sure that he was okay. And that has to just be agonizing as a parent, to not only be separated from your child, but then to know that they are not well and that they're sick and you can't tend to them, you can't care for them, check up on them. That has to be absolutely agonizing. Later, Brandon tells Dahsia that when he re-entered the bedroom, he found Mason in the bed, unresponsive, covered in vomit, and not breathing. He told her that he tried to perform CPR, but that it was unsuccessful. And he said that it was an accident, that she couldn't see Mason again because then he would lose his freedom, making this completely about himself, not about the 4-year-old boy and the 4-year-old son that this woman just lost. After that, Brandon became increasingly paranoid, worried that Dahsia was going to flee, reach out for help, share something. So she spent the majority of her time after that handcuffed and locked in rooms. She had absolutely no freedom from that point on. Her cell phone was completely taken away and it was never given back. She was banned from leaving the house. She was banned from going to the garage. She couldn't ever leave any room unattended. And this really left a lot of unanswered questions and uncertainty of, okay, well, if Mason has now passed away, Is he taken to the coroner's office? Are we going to have a funeral? Is there going to be a service? If not, how was he found? And that's where all of these details begin surfacing that become gut-wrenchingly unsettling. Dahsia knew she had to escape. She knew that she could not put her children at risk anymore, especially now given what has happened with Mason. She knew her own life was in jeopardy. So that same month in December, she started planning her escape. Because she was locked in rooms the majority of the time and handcuffed, she really had no means to reach out to anyone. However, she did luckily find a pad of sticky notes in the car, and she was able to maneuver while handcuffed to get a pen between the seats, this pad of sticky notes, and start writing down all of these secret notes. So whenever she could, without getting caught, of course, she would write these notes and then hide them. Once she would finish writing them, she would tuck the notes inside her clothes, and then she would eventually hide them inside her mattress because that was somewhere that Brandon reportedly never would go to look. Some of the notes that she had written read, "Help, I'm being held captive. Call my mom." And another said, "He has a gun, be careful." On February 20th, 2022, after months of planning her escape and writing these notes, she was finally, by the grace of God, allowed to sleep next to her daughter, something that Brandon rarely would ever let happen. So she took this opportunity and she coached her daughter, her 7-year-old daughter, through the entire plan, what she was to do, what she was to say, and how she was going to ultimately be this family's savior. So when the time finally came, her daughter followed the plan to a T. And that moment finally came on February 22nd, 2022. Just a little less than a month ago. And this was around 8:40 a.m. when her daughter went to school. Dahsia told her daughter to put these notes in your sock, under your feet, and hide them in your shoe. And once you get to your classroom, you give these notes to your teacher. So after her daughter walked into the classroom, all Dahsia could do at that point was pray that the plan worked, was pray that they were going to be saved. And of course, the biggest prayer of all, that Brandon wouldn't find out about this before they were saved. So this 7-year-old girl with all of this weight on her shoulders, all of this responsibility, walks into her classroom and hands her elementary school teacher a collection of her mother's sticky notes, claiming that she was being held against her will. And school officials immediately contacted law enforcement, who then jumped into action. As soon as they were notified, around 8:30 a.m., law enforcement immediately began surveilling the house. They conducted a traffic stop on Dahsia and Brandon as they were leaving their house around 10 a.m. that Tuesday morning. And when they got to the window during this traffic stop, they immediately noticed the handcuffs. They were in plain sight, as though Brandon wasn't even trying to hide that he had used these handcuffs that Dahsia had described so well, that this was actually real, that he actually was holding her captive. The police immediately separated the two of them for questioning, and during the questioning, Dahsia told police that she hadn't seen her son, her 4-year-old son Mason, and that she feared that he was dead, as Brandon had said. She explained all of the restrictions that Brandon had placed on her, how she was held captive, how she was locked in the room, how she had no freedom, and she also told police that Brandon was disciplining Mason extensively. Brandon was taken into custody on 2 counts of felony kidnapping, and after they arrested him, police got a search warrant for that house. What they found was truly horrifying. Besides the signs of control in the house, with all of the locks, the gates, the surveillance, the motion sensors, the cameras, all of that, the garage was where they figured out exactly what happened to that 4-year-old boy, to 4-year-old Mason. Inside the garage freezer, they found odor-controlling trash bags, a fan, and an air filtration system. But that wasn't all. Under all of the food inside that freezer and a layer of cardboard, there was a little 4-year-old Mason wrapped in trash bags. And Mason had visible bodily injuries that were consistent with abuse. So could those injuries that were inflicted be what caused Mason the illness that he had that ultimately resulted in his death? Or when Brandon took him into that bedroom and barricaded the door, did he just continue to hurt him until he was no longer breathing and no longer alive. According to neighbors, there was a U-Haul as well that had been parked in the driveway for quite some time. And a neighbor had said that the U-Haul was parked there all the time, but they could never figure out why it was there. And they thought it was weird, but they were never moving. They couldn't figure out why they would have this U-Haul just parked in the driveway. So what was in the U-Haul? Well, as it turns out, the U-Haul was filled with dirt. And when police went into the backyard of this house, they discovered an 8-foot hole that Brandon had dug. And that hole was supposed to be used as a grave for 4-year-old Mason. Now, an 8-foot hole is deep, and that takes some time to dig. It is not an easy feat. So this has been taking Brandon quite a while to dig this hole. And this shocked neighbors. Not only did it shock them, but it deeply saddened them because nobody knew what was going on just right next door.
Neighbors that we spoke with say they had no idea that something so sinister was going on right next door. One woman, Alberta Amezcua, she says she knew the little boy found dead inside of that freezer very well, and her heart has been broken into pieces since she learned the news.
He was so cute, so, just outgoing and happy. I found the tape outside and my heart dropped.
Now, police believe that little boy's body had been in the freezer since early December. They first learned of the crime after the boy's older sister handed a note over to her teacher. The note, which was written by their mother, said she was being held against her will and she wasn't sure if her son was still alive because she hadn't seen him since December. The teacher called police, who immediately went to the home and saw the mother leaving with her boyfriend. Police stopped the car and brought both of them in for questioning, and that's when things took a tragic turn.
With all of this and the discovery of Mason, police immediately charged Brandon with 1 count of open murder of this 4-year-old boy. And this was on top of the already 2 felony kidnapping charges. He's currently being held in the Clark County Jail in Nevada. And the murder charge has an open charge, and this can be converted eventually either to 1st degree or 2nd degree, though right now we don't know which one he's going to be charged with. He still has not entered a plea, and his bail was revoked, I believe. It's been revoked and he can't make bail, but everything is also going to be discussed first at the preliminary hearing, which is set for April 7th, so in a little over a month. Brandon's attorney also says that they're evaluating to see if possibly mental health could have been a factor in all of this, which, no, this person just seems straight evil in my opinion. And what about Dahsia? Well, Dahsia's been released by police, and at this time, it's not expected that she's going to face any charges, although there is a lot of questioning and a lot of uproar by the public about this. A lot of people speculate that she was complicit. A lot of people speculate that she knew more than what she was sharing and personally tried to put on the role of the victim as to not have any sort of repercussions for herself. Yet some of her family and friends are saying that she still is coming out of this systematic brainwashing and trauma, and that she is slowly starting to rebuild and recover.
It's possible that you could be in a situation and being controlled by a man so much that you would not know where your child is and not act earlier. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just trying to understand tonight what's going on.
Well, clearly this is a man, her boyfriend, who swooped in, actually, after her husband died and isolated her from her family. And he had a history of domestic violence. And, she said that he tied her up and he took away her phone and, wouldn't let her leave the house. And even they did find handcuffs in the car. But, and so, yes, it seems most likely that he was the one who killed the son. But, and it's interesting because men who commit domestic violence, the most vulnerable times for the women are when they're pregnant, or if they have a male son, because the boyfriend, the man, feels that the other male in the house is a competitor. But, there really is something more to this story. How could a mother, somehow she found a way to give her daughter the note, but she said she didn't see her son since December 11th. So, I mean, you have to wonder, wasn't there some other opportunity before now that she could have escaped or found her son or something. There is definitely more to it. Plus, she gave different stories about what she thought happened to the son, because she talked about how her boyfriend told her that he had that it was an accident, that the son was dead, but it was an accident. He had vomit on him in bed. I mean, there are various stories. So I think the mother definitely needs to be investigated.
So a lot of conflicting opinions out there. However, what we do know is police are stressing that it is very early in the investigation and that there still are a lot of unexplained questions that they, of course, are going to be drilling down and getting the answers to. However, currently, there are no charges against Dahsia, and police have not responded to calls or emails asking if they consider her a suspect. So what I gather by that is that they are still trying to collect as much evidence as possible, answer a lot of those unanswered questions to see what her real role was in this. Even if she was being held captive, could she have done something sooner maybe? Was she complicit in everything leading up to what happened in December? I think there's probably still a lot of gray area, and they're trying to get to the bottom of that before they formally announce one way or another if she is a suspect or not. So tell me what you guys think. Do you think that she is absolutely 100% with certainty a victim in all of this, and this is all done at the hands of Brandon? Do you think that maybe she did have a more active role in this, and when it went too far and when it resulted in the death of her son, that's when she made the master plan that she needed to exit and save herself and the life of her daughter, who was fortunately still alive? What do you guys think? It'll be interesting at the preliminary hearing too, to not only learn more and to hear about the pleas entered, but also to hear if Brandon starts sharing anything, if he flips on Dahsia, if he says that she was involved or participated in anything. And I feel as though, because everything now has just been one-sided in her version of events, it's going to be very telling to hear what he and his attorney have to say. And I'm just hopeful that the justice, wherever it needs to be served, I hope that the justice is served and the right people are held accountable, because for a 4-year-old to just tragically not only be murdered like that or be disposed of like that, but also to be separated from his mother. And if all of those allegations are true, of course, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And so I hope that whoever was responsible is held accountable to the absolute fullest extent. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I will keep you updated as soon as we know more, and as we go to hearings and as we get the discovery and the arrest affidavits and everything else, and I'll keep you updated. So again, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button below so that you get notified of those updates. And please give this video a thumbs up on your way out if you enjoyed the coverage. And don't forget, leave your comments below because I like hearing your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in with me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the coverage, and until the next case, stay safe.